Never happens.
Never, because I'm so upfront with them. I tell them I'm gonna mark it up, and you're gonna see it on the MLS at a higher price. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay the agents their full 6%. I'm gonna pay title their 1%. I'm gonna pay that extra overage, whatever it is, and then there's gonna be negotiations in between. So you do the math. They can do the
Mm,
math. Oh, they're gonna make this, and they already know. But I put it up front. I've
smart.
never ever. Now, when I started doing this, all the time. But then I learned to hit it head on before we did it.
How
And
much of a difference is it from what the seller is making and then what you're actually listing it for? Is it like 100 grand difference sometimes?
it was 60 grand. I listed it for 160 and our offer was 141, and then I just asked for an extra 5 grand. I just ran the comps, and what I'll do is I'll find, like on this one, I can show you how I got my number. So let me find, what was this address real quick? This was Woodland Creek. All right, 4321 Woodland Creek. So you can see the real. I get a lot of like pushback from people on this strategy for whatever reason. Not sellers, but just like other investors in the space. Am I still sharing my screen? All right. 4321. But it saves our ass a lot. And we make good money doing it. I've got another one we're closing this week or next. It was a 28K rip. Same thing. Let's see. It's just a conversation. All right. So MLS. All right. Here's this property. All right, we got it for 120. There's some comps on the same street. 205 took 100 days. Another Woodland Creek 230 took 80 days. All right, so then you go look at this. This is like an as is comp in 100 days. Ours got some cracks in the foundation. They don't know if it's settling or whatever, but it's not like horrible. Like this one is as is. They just have good pictures. But ours is really messy. It needs to be painted. This one's nicer. So what I'll do is I'll be like, all right, this is like an as is comp, in my opinion. Here's our house. So I'll be like, I think if somebody were to put 20 or 30 G's into this thing, it would look like that. And here's our listing.
Was this a bankruptcy?
Uh-uh. It was a inheritance.
Hmm.
Yeah. We got tons of showings, tons of showings. So I don't know. Whatever. So I just decided 165, I guess, was what I wanted to do. I subtracted 40 G's from the other as is and let people fight over it and do my math. So, do y'all
I
got
think
any
it,
that you're not able to move right now that this could make you money that you have under contract?
I think I do. I think I got one in Lufkin, Texas right now. I
Yeah.
saw an ARV for about 340 or so. I have it under contract for 170. Had somebody walk it yesterday, offered me 160, claiming that's the number it'll move at. I know it will, but he's a local guy.
Yeah.
He's lowballed me on all my deals that I've done in Lufkin before, but I'll share it here in the chat if you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Might be worth looking at. It's a pretty damn good house in my opinion.
And what did you have? What do you have it for?
170. And I started out low and she started at 215. So I was like, these numbers don't make a lot of sense. Oh shoot, hold on.
Yeah, we'll look at it. I'll be able to tell you right here, like what I think. But yeah, it sounds already. And do you have media evidence stuff? Oh yeah,
I
you do.
do.
All right, cool. All right, so let me put it in here. I think it's still shared. Yeah. All right, cool. Oh, I didn't copy the whole shebang here.
Hey Travis, real quick, are you using to factor in novations? Are you just doing 10% off
Yeah.
market value,
Yeah,
as is
10%
value?
off market value. And if it's like a crap hole, Like I call it, or I stole this term from Charles. He was on here a few weeks, but he calls them equity listings. We never used to call them anything. I just call them like, I don't know. But if they're like trap houses and we see other cash sales around there, but sometimes it doesn't make sense 70% minus repairs. But then you see other cash buys around, and I base my numbers off of the cash sales in that instance, and then I'll subtract the 10% and then look at it for my fee, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you do 10% and then minus, let's say you want to make 20 grand on it, minus 20 grand, and that's the price, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll never go with exactly what I want. I'll try to put a buffer because you
Yeah,
never
of course.
get
Oh
what you
yeah.
ask.
But that 10%, is that normally enough to cover the 6%, the closing cost? And like, what
Yeah.
if the buyer comes back and asks for closing cost? Because we see that a
Well,
lot out here.
you'll have to renegotiate at that point.
Got it.
It's just part of it. Like it happens, but yeah, 10%.
Mhm.
Because if nothing goes wrong, 8% will cover you. So I use 10, and I'm pretty good with that. But if they need stuff and I'm not going to make money, then I have to go ask for it somewhere. I have to ask the seller or the buyer. One of them's got to help me out. I've only
Got it.
asked an agent one time to reduce, two times to reduce their commission, but I showed them the numbers. I was like, I'm going to show you what we're all making, and I'm going to show you why I've got to do this. I want you to know I'm not
Yep.
just putting you down. I've already tried the seller. I've already tried the buyer. This is the only way we can all make money. The one I'm doing in Florida right now, I had the agent come down. She was a solo agent acting as a double agent, a dual agent, which is cool. I told her I'll pay you full 6%, but we end up getting $200,000 less. And then I negotiated that much, and I showed her, and I'm like, hey, you got to go to 3% because I need to make, I think it was 30 G's or whatever it was. And she's like, cool. We made it work. Agents or service people are last. I try my hardest not to do that, but I'll take the hit. We'll both share in that if we have to.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You've got one on the same street. All right. So 92 days, 4.2, 2,600 square feet, a little bigger. You got 1 acre. They got less. You're newer. All right, cool. Very comparable. All right. So I'm going to look at theirs. All right. Here's theirs. All right. So they redid some stuff in theirs. Pretty nice. I'll call that ARV. All right, cool. That's probably where you got that. All right. I've got to click out of this to get the media, and then I'll click back. All right. Share. Cool. All right. All right, cool. Yeah. So it's nice. It looks nice. Might need a roof. That's not horrible. Cool. Just an as is deal. I wonder if there's a comp that's as is. Let's see. What is 286, 250? What does this 259 look like? When 175 days. Let's look at this 275. Oh, same street. 3-2, smaller lot, older. I like this. Yeah, very similar. All right, cool. And that was for, so we know for a fact this will move at 275 on the market. All right, so let's run this math real quick. In what time frame? Because ours has a bigger lot. It's got, if this math is right, I don't think that's right. But let's just say it's bigger and it's got a bigger lot. I'm going to say 275 in 50 days is reasonable. All right, so now let's put a different lens on this. Let's even call it 260, like whatever. All right, 260 minus 10% minus 30K. You're at 204. And you've got this for what?
170.
Bro, you know what I mean? Like you would crush if they let you market it. But now let's look at it like a wholesale, right? I don't know if it needs anything major, but let's just look at it. 275 times 70%, 192. If it needs nothing major, like this is a good wholesale. Like, I think you need a different lens on this one. Like, I'm curious why that investor, what was the feedback with that investor that offered you 160?
He's a newbie investor who's bought a couple flips from me. He's like just picking it up whenever he finds the opportunities. He's not out there hunting or analyzing like we are. So obviously he's going to spend a lot less, I think. And when he walked it, he said most likely it needs a new roof, which I agree with. Like, seeing the pictures.
Okay. So you don't want to do a wholesale if it needs a new roof. Yo, give me 2 seconds. Somebody's blowing me the hell up. I gotta send this to Mark real quick. Like, give me a second. Damn. I've got somebody moved out of one of my rentals and I didn't give him Mark's number, so they're calling me to change the locks. Hang on. Sorry, y'all. Two seconds. Yo, Mark, call Carlos. He's changing the locks at Cheryl. All right, he keeps blowing me up. Tell him I'm in a meeting. Give him a call. Take care of it. Thank you. All right. This is a badass novation. It needs a roof. We ain't gonna wholesale it. Be like, hey, look, we had our guy walk through. This is the exact conversation. Like, we can do it right now, but you just say, hey, look, our guy walked through. We think it's gonna need a roof. It's gonna need some other stuff. Are you cool? Are you cool with this marketing? And what if we get you an extra 10 grand? What if we get you an extra 10 grand? Would you be all right with us marketing it? Do you think the motivation's there?
Oh yeah, they've been trying to sell this thing for a long time and no luck. They just haven't had it in front of the right people, I think. Lufkin is a slower moving market, but it's got a lot of potential, especially if it's lower than the median.
Did they have it listed?
No, they did once about a year and a half ago, I think.
Let me check. Dude, this guy's calling me on Facebook, on Teams, on everything. All right. Let's check to see if it was listed. That is a very good point. And I want to see some active listings real quick on this.
Yeah, in 2023, had it listed for 270.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it was like, I don't even know if they listed for a day. This is like a prime novation, bro. Like, I think you'll make 30 or 40 G's on this.
I'm glad I had it prepared.
And
I
you're trying
really
to
wanted to
make
show
money.
you this one, man.
Yeah, dude. And if you need help with it, like, I'll definitely JV with you on that one. Let me know. But you'll crush it on that. Just tell her, hey, I think we get you an extra 10 G's. It's gonna be tough for cash. We'll still cover the closing costs. Are you cool with that?
What do you think the days on market for something like that would be? Like 50 days, huh?
Data says 50.
Yeah.
Data says 50 days. I tell her, hey, give us 60 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that message right now.
Yeah. Hell yeah, let me know how that goes. And this is exactly why I wanted to have this conversation, because you got a deal that you've already had walked, and like it's a badass novation.
Yeah, and
And
you're
you-
right about not looking through the right lens, because my lens is catered to cash offers and low equity sub twos. That's the only two lenses I often run these things through.
There's so many, dude. There's listings, right, which you can refer out. You can refer out, make money. There's novations, there's equity listings, there's sub two, there's seller finance. Not to overwhelm, but there is a tool and you can do it on every call. Even if you're not an agent, you can still do it because you can interview an agent for somebody and you can refer them for 50%.
Yeah, I've
I
done
refer,
a lot of that.
yeah, I refer for 50%. If I'm gonna send you a listing, I'm getting 50%. But that's just me.
I love it.
Hey, Travis, quick question. What role does the agent play? What do you have them play? How do you explain it to them? If you've never used them, I know you use a lot of the same agents. Usually
So
the agent has communication with the seller, but I know you're doing.
I'm gonna show you. Watch this. Are you cool if I call this agent that listed this one right now and say, hey, I've got this listed. I might need an agent. I have this under contract. I have an attorney. In fact, I might need this listed. What do you think? Are you cool if I call this agent right now, Brandon? All right. So I'm going to show you exactly how the conversation is going to go. Because here's and I want you to hear what I'm listening for too. I want to hear if they're hesitant about working with me because they don't like wholesalers, they don't like creative people. I don't want to deal with them. I want to hear if they're excited. Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for calling me. Like, I've never even heard of this. This is awesome. Or I've done a bunch of this. Or I want somebody that's excited. That's all I'm listening for. I already know
Cool.
I know they sold a property over here just in March. So I know they know what they're doing.
So before you call, yeah, definitely want to hear that. But what about after, everything's going, it's on the MLS? Does the listing agent only communicate with you, no
Yeah.
communication with the owner?
Yeah, only
Okay,
with me. I'm like, you don't talk to the owner unless you're going to the house.
got
And
it.
so, like, I'm talking to the owner. That way I can control the narrative. Because I don't want
Yep,
them to be like, oh, we got this. I want to make sure
yep,
I'm prepping everything and communicate. Because, like, the agent I'm dealing with right now, I've dealt with him a lot, and he still doesn't get it. But he trusts me because I've paid him. We've done business. But he just gets really confused. And I can't have that going to the seller
yep.
because they'll be like, what the hell? He's just, I got an offer. What do I do? I'm like, send it to me. Okay, now, and like last night, I'm like, all right, it's a cash deal, so we're gonna do an assignment. So what I want you to do is I want you to say this to their agent. I want you to ask them if they're cool with an assignment. Don't give them an ultimatum. Just say, hey, since this is cash, are you cool with an assignment? And he did. And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do next. I have to lay it all out. I was like, we're gonna put everything in our assignment that's from your agreement into our assignment. We're cool with that. And they're like, okay, cool. But if they would have said
And
no, then I would have been like, hey, we got to do this. So you just have to control the whole narrative.
and then are the seller signing the listing agreement with the agent,
No,
or are you signing,
I'll sign the listing agreement.
but
It'll
not the
say
purchase?
not the purchase. Yeah, I want
Got
it
it.
all
Okay,
transparent. So listing's the only thing I'll sign with the attorney in fact.
okay. And all that paperwork is in the group, right?
Yeah, it's all in files, and I prefer whether you JV with me or not. I don't care. I prefer put your deal in there so we can make sure you do it right
Yeah.
because you
When
don't
you
want to.
changing the group name to Novatel's,
I should. It's funny because it's all the same crap. Like it's either you're
right?
taking it down or it's all just realizing as is market value. What's it worth? What can we make? Like, it's the
Yeah.
same crap, whether you're getting financing and buying it or you're not and you're still selling it.
Yep. No, and you bring up a good point, kind of like Brandon was saying. When we go on these calls, especially when we're new, we normally just look at it from what RJ's been teaching us, right?
Yeah.
Which is lock it up as a cash deal. But there are so many different avenues. So that's why I
And
love being a part of this group.
you just get so many more opportunities. And me and
Yep.
RJ talked a bunch. He'd wanted me to teach some stuff in there, and I was like, oh, my own thing. But the thing is, he has to teach that way
Yep.
because you confuse the hell out of people, and that's why I try to present it that you can't teach this mass. You can't. You've got to be experienced to even somewhat grasp what the hell we're
Yep.
doing now. You can't just be. It's very difficult. But I think y'all like with us doing the wholesale formulas, calculation, the buy, you start getting it. You're like, damn, I don't need to buy it. I know how to calculate market value. I see that as is come.
So I'm just a little confused as the approach that Brandon would take to the seller.
Yeah, like my text message was to that one lady. Hey, I'm not. You don't want to shut the door because you don't want to be like cancel it. You just be like,
Yeah.
I want to. I'm not completely sure this price is going to work for us, right? I think cash we might have to be more around the 140, but I think we can get you your. I don't know the numbers. I think we could get you the 170. I'm not promising you, but I really feel comfortable. Like after really sending our guy over there, reviewing the data, I really feel comfortable getting you the 170 or trying like hell to, and we're still going to cover the closing costs. You don't care how you get your money, right? No, I want 170. Cool. Let us just market it. What we'll do is we're going to hire the agent, right? We've got agents we work with. Let us hire the agent. We're still going to cover the closing costs. We're going to deal with the agent. We're going to pay them. You don't have to pay them. We're going to pay them. I have a call center, so I leverage that. I'm like, I have a call center. Like we're gonna, because we do. As soon as we get a novation, I have Daisy pull a realtor list in the area, and immediately, and she blasts them all, so we get showings right away. Which agents love us for that because we get tons of showings for them. But anyways, that's my pitch.
Okay, yeah, I get it now. You frame it around them getting their money no matter what, and then you covering the extra costs that are going to be required. Okay,
Yes,
that
like
makes
you
that
want
makes
this
sense.
number. Yeah, you want this number. You don't want to pay closing costs.
Makes sense. Gotcha, gotcha.
How about I
Okay,
do it, but I won't do it?
I like it. Okay, now I see it. Now I see why how it can be done.
Do you care if I'm the one writing the check, or is it cool if somebody else writes the check?
Yeah, that's exactly how my message says. This is a really great one. I really like your price, but it's just a little bit too tight for us.
Yeah.
However, I'm still prepared to pay all the closing costs and all that, and I might be able to get you 10 grand more if I market it to the right people.
Yes,
No response yet, but
that's all right. If she doesn't respond, just give her a shout.
yeah, exactly.
And I'd be comfortable with you paying 10 grand more on this because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if
was
it's
I like to keep that in my back pocket in case they do have some sort of objection. I could give you 10 grand more.
yeah.
So I don't know if I should start with that or wait, hold that. I'm not sure yet.
I would hold it if you have to, just depending on the seller. If they're like a hard ass and you think it's going to be a difficult conversation, maybe I'd offer it up front. But if it's been like this cool, easy going thing and you think they're going to say yes no matter what, do it. Or if you have to get on the phone with them and you think that's going to be the thing that does it, then use it. That's going to be like a sales thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, we've mostly been texting, so I'm going to start there. And then if it needs to, I'll give her a call.
Yeah. All right, cool. So listed by Sonia Bonner. All right, cool. So here's your number. We're going to give her a shout. All right. And here's how this conversation is going to go. If y'all saw my missed calls and text messages right now, holy hell. All right. 93663. And I'm going to preface something, especially Alex, you're just getting started. Where people go wrong is everything's a novation, right? Don't do that. You can, but it has to make sense, right? There's tools for everything, and I'm just giving you some tools here. I don't know. Like people are locking up stuff so high because I talk to them all day, and the math doesn't make sense, and a lot of people are getting disappointed, and they're putting all these laws out because people are just getting screwed. They're losing their homes because you really gotta be educated with this stuff. It's not hard, but people don't take the extra time to just figure out what the hell it's worth and what they can do. But anyways, all right, let's call. I'm gonna throw this on the. What's her name again? Sonia.
Good afternoon. We're going to be interrupting. This is Justin. How can I help you?
Hey, Justin, is Sonia available?
He is not. He is out of the office.
Do you ever sell?
I do not offhand know, but there is somebody filling in for her while she's out. Amy Epperson is her name.
Okay.
And her number is 936 615 7674.
And her name's, what was her name?
Amy?
Amy. Cool. I appreciate it, man. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
All right. So let's call Amy.
I found Sonia's number online. I just put it in the chat.
Oh, you found her cell? All right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'd rather deal with her. I can't view the chat when I'm sharing. That's all right. 414-3341. Share again so we can look at all this stuff while we're talking to her.
On with Ellen Wayne again, and I'll take her. I'll be out of the office, right?
All right, we're going to call Amy so you can hear this conversation. And you had mentioned RJ earlier. So I don't know if I told y'all, but I did an equity listing for a deal that they were JVing with. We're going to do he wants me to come on an implementation call and do it. One of the group members had one in Florida and they were going to have to cancel it. and he called and he's, hey bro, can you do a novation on this? I was like, sure. So I interviewed everybody. I couldn't get an agent to do it because the house was so weird. Anyway, it was a long story, and we'll do a call on it. Long story short, it ends up being a 30K fee, and it was they were going to cancel it, so it was like last effort. No, I had to do a lot of work on that one in between, so it wasn't just that was not an easy. Just to be transparent. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, is this Amy?
No, wrong number. Goodbye.
Oh my God.
Was that a speed to lead?
Okay. What the hell? I'm gonna call this brokerage one more time because I really want to have this conversation real quick.
Good afternoon, Kevin Williams, Weekend Realty. This is Justin. How can I help you?
Hey Justin, I just called that number for Amy, but some dude answered and said it was the wrong number. Maybe I got the wrong number from you.
936-615-7674.
Yeah. All right, cool. Oh, it's
7874.
okay, 7871. All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, you bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. 936-615-7874. I need somebody else answering the phones. He gave me wrong numbers out.
Your call has been forwarded to voice.
All right, so at that point, I would text that agent, and if I didn't get a response in a text, I wouldn't use them. If they didn't answer their phone or they didn't answer a text, one or the other, I don't care. I don't answer my phone, but I'll answer my text. If they don't answer regardless, I'm gonna have trouble selling that deal. So then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna start calling these other agents, and then whoever I like the most, that's who I'm gonna use, and whoever's the most responsive and most excited, and I'm gonna say, hey, I want to list this property. I have an attorney in fact. Tell me what you think it'd sell for in 60 days or less. I think it'd sell for this. Cool. Can you walk it today? That's it. All right, let's get rolling. Super important that the agent walks it before you list it so they can actually see what they're going to do. Y'all got any other questions? Sorry, we drug on a little long. Let me know
Hey,
if you...
Travis,
Yes, sir.
is there any way to get like this full recording? Because this was a good training that I want to listen to a few times, but it seems like the ones in the school app, they're chopped up a little bit.
Yeah, I can tell him to keep them raw if they're too chopped up in there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell him. Yeah, cool. It's Fahad, so I'll tell him not to chop them up.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because this was a good one.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
Let me
given
know.
me a lot of confidence in an area that I'm just like scared to pull the trigger at or look through that lens like you've trained yourself to do.
Yeah,
It's given me a lot of confidence, man.
cool. You're gonna make a lot more money. Like literally, you're gonna make a lot more money when you start doing them.
Oh, I believe that wholeheartedly. I feel like I'm passing a lot of deals off still that this exact strategy would be perfect for.
Yeah, half my deals this month are from this. So if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have half my deals this month. You know what I mean? And actually, my assignments sucked. I have assignments too, but they're just so much lower this month than in those deals. I don't know, whatever. But sometimes it's flip flop too. It's just these usually pay higher if they're on the MLS. They usually pay higher. People know they got to pay more money on the MLS if they want to play.